Thousands of people from the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon were on the streets with peace plans venting anti-government sentiments in coincidence with the president's speech as the general at the United Nations General Assembly. The protest came a day after a bomb exploded in Bamenda, northwest region of Cameroon. We'll equally be talking about startups. The program is News Roundup of the Week. Stay with us. Hello everyone and welcome to News Roundup of the Week. I'm called Ndih. I'll begin by introducing my guest. He's called Clifford Ndecham. He is the managing director of a startup called Sky High University Center. I hope I pronounce it well.
Hello, Maureen. It's Sky High University Center here.
All right. Now, you're just coming into the country after spending 4 to 5 years out of Cameroon.
Out of Cameroon, yeah.
Precisely.
The United States and the United Kingdom, where I've been doing my studies in the United Kingdom and living in the United States. I've worked in both of the countries as well. Yes, so
And then why did you decide to come back to Cameroon?
Cameroon, first of all, is my country. I'll never run away from the fact. I happen to be in the United Kingdom because I needed to do my studies, which I did my MBA there and continue with my PhD. So I thought it wise to come back home.
Go have Cameroonians investing elsewhere?
Definitely, but I think Cameroon,
you have some of your mates who prefer to stay back there rather than coming back to Cameroon.
Of course, but I prefer my own country.
Now, what's your motivation?
Studying out there, I discovered it was qualitative and it was expensive. I was like, why can't I replicate this in my country, give the quality at a lower rate? That was my focus. So I decided that no, it's best I come back to my own country and replicate, bring that which is being offered out there at a very high price and which is very challenging even to obtain the visa to study there, bring it home and be able to get young Cameroonians get the same qualifications which I spent a lot to have it out there in the country and be able to compete internationally or globally.
Was it able for you to establish here in Cameroon?
Cameroon has its own challenges.
What are the challenges when you're talking about?
When it comes to business, we have a lot of bottleneck. That's something we must recognize. But
for example,
getting the right information, most especially on following the right procedure. The procedures are always there on paper, it's well articulate, but sometimes when you go, it's a country of English and French. Sometimes it's challenging for you, the English person, to actually interact with or interrelate with the French official. But at the end, we still succeeded to get, because opening a school, Sky High University Center needed, first of all, an authorization from the Ministry of Higher Education.
And how long did it take that? How long did you take to have the documents?
The procedure, yeah, it has been a long process. We started out in 2015. That's when I launched the first file for the authorization. Running a school like this requires a lot of groundwork. It requires a lot of logistics, it requires a lot of resources. So I'm sure the ministry was just ensuring that all these requirements were made before they could actually give me my authorization.
Now we'll be talking about we're talking about Sky High University Center, which is a startup. Now tension was high in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon as thousands came out venting anti-government sentiments. Let's watch this report. We'll be right back.
It was a hot Friday across Kumbu, chief town of the Bui division in the northwest region of Cameroon, as close to 1,000 youths, women and men to the streets. Protesters marched from the St. Augustine's College Junction down to the Fonds Palace in So, in Tobin, Biame, Jakiri, Nkrom and Kum subdivisions. It was the same, except in Oku, where no manifestations took place. People carried peace plans to make their intentions clear. Though they gave no specific reason for their demonstration, it is clear they are asking for the release of all Anglophones in detention following the presidential decree that stipulated that all Anglophones detained in relation to the Anglophone crisis be set free.
They came into na for 1 minute and they young yeji. You get a more yamu party. At the sushi, you are there to me. Band of the aluminum. Now we are you for they keep another second in the room. I should not sit on it. To want to tell you about the variable, the more you look for a walk.
In most parts of the division, manifestations were peaceful in the early hours. Later on, it turned violent. Tear gas was used on protesters, but no death registered. Honorable Dr. Joseph Banazum Lukon called on protesters to manifest peacefully.
Several thousands of demonstrators poured into the streets of the Northwest Regional Capital, Bamenda, this Friday morning. With green tree branches in hand, they have covered several kilometers from various meeting points in town, coordinated and indicated through social media. They marched to the palace of the traditional ruler of Mankong, where they hosted a blue and white flag in 3 separate locations around the palace. The flag, they added, is a symbol of their own state. Fanangwafo of Mankong, who is also the first vice chairman of the ruling CBDM party, did not come out to address the protesters. Before returning to town and their various houses, they told news reporters they are fed up with the dominion of the French language in a united and supposedly bilingual Cameroon.
It is timely because I don't know whether he will get the information before he addresses the world. Maybe if he gets the images, he can change some statements in his speech and appease the world, because everybody is looking forward to listening to what he is going to say.
Security forces who tried bringing down the flags were chased away. The protest took place under the watchful eyes of anti-riot police officers stationed at various road junctions in town. Welcome back. The program is News Roundup of the Week. Now, after watching the reports on the protest demonstrations in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon, how did you react to that?
Generally, what I'll say is, as youths, there's something we really need to bear in mind. Our government is there for us, is there to protect us. The government is a country without a rule of law, a country without law and order cannot really survive, cannot really stand on its own. The government is there to protect us, they are there to provide for our basic amenities, our basic resources, but as youth, we need to have this consciousness that there are better opportunities than just waiting on the government to, provide for great jobs and all of that. We too can take up the challenge and start doing.
So you're not supposed to go out on the streets and tell government we want this or want that, we don't want you to treat us this way?
I did not say that. Peaceful demonstration is a basic and fundamental human right. The right to freedom of information, freedom of expression is well enshrined in the Universal Declaration on Human Rights, which Cameroon is a signatory. But what I'm trying to say is we have the right to do our things. It should be in a more organized way. Our country is a country of law, and we should always try to follow the law.
Now, did you imagine that the protests will take that twist?
It's quite amazing how far this has come. And when this started last November, we thought it was just maybe 1 or 2 days and it'll be all over. And after watching this, I actually think it is becoming more organized. And I think probably there is a lot of groundwork going on.
So you think it is more organized and as leader? Is that what you think?
I won't talk
for people to just get up in the morning and gather somewhere and then start protesting. Do you think there's something, there's a leader or hidden, somebody who is somewhere and is doing the groundwork?
Well, I won't actually talk about the fact that there's a leader or somewhere. It seems like probably there are groups and there are communities that come together and probably agree on what they should do next, because when you watch the videos, when you see the way they came out, the attires and all of that, it seems is somehow really coordinated.
Now, this coincides with Mr. Biya's address at the United Nations. Now, what's your take on that?
Oh, the United
Do you
Nations.
think they're trying to pass a message to the head of state, or how come it coincides with this address at the United Nations?
Yeah, I think it is kind of like a message that's been going out to the United Nations and probably to His Excellency, the President of our country as well, because he was supposed to deliver a speech on Friday, which the protests it has been going on social media. The fact that, oh, let's come out and demonstrate in New York. We've been receiving all those communiques. Those of us who happen to have been abroad, we've been receiving all of those such that let's come out and demonstrate at the UN so that they should know that something is not right in Cameroon. So from our indication, it shows it was well organized as well at home to send such a message.
That's your opinion. How can this be handled?
Mediation and peaceful dialogue, I think, is a solution.
So government should give...
If the government could give a listening ear to the English
worries.
And the Northwest and the Southwest people, and also if we could, the leaders of the Northwest and Southwest people could also like sit down and kind of try to understand with the government in talking or in doing the mediation, not just taking the highway, that could also help as well.
All right. Let's equally refresh our memories on the bomb explosion in the northwest region of Cameroon, precisely in Bamenda, that left 3 police officers seriously wounded. Let's watch this report and others that made news in the course of the week. We'll be right back.
This is the junction directly below the outpatients gate of the Bamenda Regional Hospital this Thursday morning. In effect, it is a bomb explosion that has left 3 police officers injured after it went off at about 8:30 a.m. on the veranda of a medical laboratory just below the Bamenda Regional Hospital, where police officers usually find shelter from the sun or rain. The injured men in uniform were immediately rushed to the neighboring regional hospital, where they were taken to the imagery center for scanning and other machines for mammographs and other examinations. Though the press was not allowed to take pictures of the affected police officers, the Northwest governor saw them and came back to the press.
We have witnessed early this morning a terrorist act in Bamenda targeting the symbol of the state, that are the police that were doing their job. They were targeted. As a result of that, 2 were seriously wounded. They are taken care of in the regional hospital of Bamenda. And of course, like I disclosed to you last day, we are going to step up our security device to face that new situation.
It was only when the governor and his close aides visited the scene that the press was allowed to take footages of the scene of the 3rd bomb explosions within a period of about 2 weeks, within a distance of 100 meters between the hospital roundabout and the regional hospital itself.
This is ambience in travel agencies in Kumbo, northwest region of Cameroon, on a ghost town day. The travel agencies are flooded with goods and passengers. Unfortunately, all the buses are grounded as a result of the ghost town. Inhabitants are stranded as they are forced to spend their night in the travel agency if they don't have family members in Kumbo, and those who have family members spend days in the town before finally booking a bus that will transport them to their destination. All attempts to get passengers react on their cameras was futile.
The Social Democratic Front Party, the SDF, has once more set up a commission to examine the Anglophone problem. This is one of the resolutions of the National Executive Committee meeting for the month of September. The #1 opposition party in Cameroon has disapproved of the manner with which the CPDM-run government has been handling the crisis.
No, the SDF, the United Nations, same. Almost every international organization that has addressed the Anglophone crisis asked for the same thing: release the detainees. What does the government do? It releases some detainees, and interestingly enough, it releases those they call the leaders.
The ongoing reorganization of the basic organs of the Social Democratic Front has raised some dust in the South Region coordination in Ebolor.
Very surprised to learn and see what is happening as he who failed is now complaining while he took part normally to the election process.
Last Saturday's conclave of NEC, chaired by National Chairman Ndih, also discussed preparations for the next elective convention built for the 27th, 28th and 29th of next month in Bamenda.
Parents whose children attend Sacred Heart College in Bamenda have since last night been expressing the desire to withdraw their children after last night's fire outbreak that has consumed the St. James dormitory of the school. The incident that ravaged 32 beds and other personal belongings of Form 3 students happened at about 9 p.m. when the students were all in the chapel for evening prayers. The news went wide around town and parents trooped in anxiety over the safety of their children. They have expressed bitterness with the security much trumpeted by the government, which they say does not seem to exist.
Assurance was not there. That's what has happened. No, it's not now that we're seeing military people guns. Why?
Governor Adolphe Lele Lafrique and the Northwest administration have been to the college this morning with top security officials.
Population that government and the security services have taken all necessary measures to put an end to that sad situation. Yesterday, for example, the ringleaders of those who tried to burn the DOSs in Bali were remanded into custody. In the Bengui, we have dismantled a gang that were threatening to disrupt public orders in the region, terrorists. And as far as the incident you are mentioning are concerned, we are going to trace them. We have already have some indication about those who performed that sad activity here in Sacred Heart.
We did what we could at our level, and that is why you see the damage that is done is not as it would have been if the institution was not secured, and we have stepped up security.
Parents should calm down. The situation is under control. The fire brigade was right on time, and I think the intention is to intimidate, and that's all that I think parents should not give in to the intimidation.
Predominantly a school for the world to do, pushcars have been streaming into the campus as some of the students have through the windows been using sign languages to communicate with their parents.
Extension work on Boulevard de la République in Douala, launched on December 2013, has come to a halt. Water, mud and potholes have replaced tar. Road users go through hell. Meantime, people who were demolished, about 270 of them, are still waiting for compensation. The demolished all homes, mosque, everything was brought down without they giving us any money. I am outside, I have nowhere to sleep. I have my 14 children and others who have come to live with me. They just demolished my house like that. While negotiations are ongoing, some people in the area are not sure of what the future holds. The St. Andrew cross has been drawn on some houses, whereas the same people had their other homes demolished. In fact, we don't know what to do. We are just waiting for when they will come and destroy our homes again. They had demolished my first house, which was much more bigger. They want to destroy again this other one, saying they want to build a roundabout. As the wait for compensation, so too threats multiply. We do not master anything anymore. When we go to the SDO's office, they just keep asking for photocopies of ID cards. Yesterday we were there. They ask again for the same documents. Demolition victims and automobile users all hope very soon their nightmare will be over when the construction work comes to an end.
Welcome back. The program is News Roundup of the Week, and I'm still accompanied by Clifford Ndecham. He is a managing director of Sky High University Center based in Douala, Cameroon. If you're just joining us, the program is News Roundup of the Week. Now, I want to talk about roads. Now, when you look at roads in Douala, you are coming from another country, you're coming from very far, and you just came into the country. Now, when you look at the roads, what's your take on that?
Compared to where we were in 2010, I'll say there's an improvement. Though we're still not the best, because at the moment, still driving around Douala for me is kind of like more than my job actually doing. It's really challenging, especially living from Bonaberi to cross to town, to commute to town every day is a big challenge. Sometimes I have to stay at work probably up to 8 p.m. so that the traffic will clear a bit, and there was the road maintenance.
So you think the traffic is caused by the bad state of the roads?
The bad state of the road is one thing, then the drivers themselves is another thing. Everyone is in competition to overtake. If it is more coordinated, having that consciousness that, oh, let me slow down a bit, let the other person who has right of way, or even if he does not have right of way, let him overtake, I think that will help. Because what I always find is, I've been driving the United States, I've been driving the United Kingdom. There is more of, that's the first thing I learned, the patience, wherein you could stand and wait for cars to pass from up to a minute until you are clear to go, not just trying to push yourself into it. So most of the time when I see around any roundabout, it's always that commotion, everyone, especially the taxi drivers, trying to overtake each other. I think that is it. Then the road itself, the roads themselves, we have most of the time, the potholes, drivers trying to escape from the potholes in order not to damage their cars, so they're forced to enter the other lane, side lanes, which affects the traffic.
Now, how bad are the roads?
I won't say that bad in Douala, because if you look at other regions,
you're comparing it with
if you
which region, for example?
Going to the northwest, for example, is a different ball game. Like when you are towards entering Bamenda, it's very challenging. So when you compare the roads in Douala to that, is reasonably good in Douala.
Now, we had the road around the northwest and the west region towards Babaju that cut into two. Now, were you taken aback by that? Hard roads that constantly get bad.
Yes, we always have such challenges in Cameroon, and what destroys us most especially is that for each major town, most of the time we have just one main road that leads into it, and the moment that road is touched, then transport and communication between those towns are always hampered. So in my opinion, if I was to meet whoever is in charge of roadworks in Cameroon, I'll be like, hey, look, let's start thinking of measure 2 to 3 different roads that link different towns. That would definitely facilitate the transport network in the country.
Now, I feel like try to ask yourself, the money used from toll gates, that the money they take from drivers.
Yeah.
I feel like try to question where the money is going to.
I remember back when we were in high school, we were trying to analyze how much was coming in from toll gates.
Now, how much?
Annually, and I don't want to mention the figure because it was enormous.
It's frightening.
Yes, it was enormous. And I believe that if this money, as well as the road tax money that is being collected, if they are judiciously put in place, so, for the road maintenance, I believe that probably the government has other priorities or other sectors that transfer such funds to. But if they are judiciously put in place back into the roads to ensure that our roads, our bridges are well maintained, then I think Cameroon can actually be a better place when it comes to road network.
All right. Now, the program is News Roundup of the Week. I want us to watch other news-making events of the week. With this picture placed at the center of the living room, family members can't help but mourn her sudden disappearance. Fanya Harriet, 53, died during a deliverance session at the Pentecostal church in Douala, Cameroon. The husband, the quarter-8 of Song Mahop, in the Douala 3 council area, is still in shock. At the family residence, people stream in and out to get first-hand information. My wife left the house on Saturday at 9 p.m. I did not know she was going to a Pentecostal church, since I've banned it from any member of my family. I was already asleep when my son came knocking at my door, that my wife had collapsed in the Pentecostal church and that she was being transported to Lankentini Hospital. Her eldest son is still in shock. It is here that his mother used to exhibit her kola nut. Today the table is without its owner. According to family members, the 53-year-old mother did not show signs of any sickness. My mother was doing fine at 6 p.m. She even exhibited her kola nut until when she visited the Pentecostal church. The pastor, identified as Fonta Hughes Bertrand, but popularly called Evangelist by his faithfuls, is currently behind bars. According to security reports, the 40-year-old pastor, native from Kumba, has no documents that allows him to operate a church, a clear indication he is operating in illegality. The Pentecostal church, called Église La Salut pour toutes les Nations, situated at the Newtown Aeroport neighborhood, has been shut down after the death of the woman. Placards carrying the name of the church has been removed, but the inscriptions can be read on the walls. We also got hold of this flyer inviting faithfuls for another deliverance session.
Il prétend que cette dame fréquente son église.
He's claiming the lady in question had been attending his church for the past 4 years and that she was suffering from hypertension and diabetes. That evening, instead of the fake pastor asking the woman to go to a hospital, he instead promised to heal her at the deliverance sessions with prayers, and that was how she died.
Elle a rendu l'âme sur le champ dans cette soi-disant église de réveil.
Meantime, the corpse has been deposited at the Telga District Hospital mortuary. Family members want justice to prevail.
It is a traumatized man that received us at his residence in the Logbeso neighborhood in the Douala 5 municipality. Mr. Christophe Monkamkamga is weakened since the assassination of his 23-year-old daughter, Ines Kamga, on the 8th of December 2015. It is under this tree that her lifeless body was discovered in the back in the early hours of the morning by a motorbike rider. The boyfriend of the young girl remains the main suspect. He was arrested and detained ever since the tragedy occurred. I have assisted close to 2 times to trials at the court. I saw him the first time and could not believe. It's true that he did not present himself, but my wife and I, we were at the Special Criminal Court at Bonanjo. They were calling us for the 3rd time while trials had held twice and we were not informed. When we entered, we did not know him. We were told that he is a fat person. When I turned to look at the detainees, I saw a man with white with the words written on his chest, Le Boss. I just told my wife it will surely be this man. This is the first time Mr. Kamga opens up to a TV channel since the death of his daughter. The memories of the young girl are everywhere in the house. In the parlor, her chair has remained without an occupant since she died. Her bowl and laptop are also on the same position. Nobody sits here because we believe at any time from now she might come back. This is her bowl and her laptop. She left since the 8th of December in the morning. I saw her off that day as she was going to do her internship.
Je l'ai accompagnée en route pour qu'elle ait fait son stage.
In her room, her bed is still arranged the way she left it that unfaithful day with her picture on it. Her documents, dresses, and shoes are also still the same way she left them, as if she was going to come back. It is not easy to fill the empty space. It is difficult. The manner at which she went is just as if she was saying, I am coming back. And we are still waiting. Mr. Kamga has invested all his fortune on his young girl with a good academic record. She had to leave for Canada to further her studies. Since then, her father on retirement can barely cater for the needs of Ines's siblings. Trials will hold this Thursday, September 21st, at the Court of First Instance in Bonanjo Douala, where the family expect to know what really happened that 8th of December 2015. After close to 2 months, as their houses were destroyed by cyclone, victims of this disaster who live in Fiango neighborhood in Jakiri division have received over 50 sheets of zinc as a relief assistance by a home-based emergency organization. This gesture by the Council Member of Parliament and the organization aims at bringing temporary solutions to victims before government's intervention.
When we heard about the incident on that 24th of July, we rushed there, we went around the place, saw what happened, and immediately we set up two sub-commissions, with one overall commission that was to oversee the exercise. Now there was the other commission, sub-commission, headed by the Chief of Public Works.
Elite of Jakiri have, however, appreciated efforts carried out by churches, administration to assist the victims. They say the people have to be taught on climatic conditions.
I'm very grateful today for what the Clifford has done to our brothers and sisters who are the victims of this
people when they don't take their parcel, they will not try to take them away.
Disaster that occurred in
Jakiri. Very important and immediately.
In fact, they have really shown to our brothers and sisters that they care, they love, and they have proven that they are each other's keeper.
Today's action, we are actually fulfilling our responsibility. We are not here, we have a watchful eye on our parents. That's what prompted us to organize this occasion.
Efforts have gone further to provide potable water to communities affected. 2 out of the 38 houses destroyed have already been roofed. Inhabitants of Jakiri say such a disaster has not occurred for such a long time. The event was graced by an ecumenical service and traditional dances.
The fear that small and medium-sized enterprises might die immediately after creation still haunts the business community in Cameroon. Cognizant of the very pertinent intermediary role they play in the micro and macroeconomic sector, they are obliged to survive above the water. Though a glossy sector in Cameroon, SMEs are survived by the subcontracted Partnership Exchange Bureau that liaises them with the giant companies and multinationals.
There are many opportunities in petroleum sector. That's why you chose this sector. Oh, I cannot mention them because I don't have any information now. I have to go in the document of Basin Petroleum to have this information.
This group of young entrepreneurs operate small and medium-sized enterprises in Cameroon's economic hub. They are involved in diverse sectors. But how to make their business competitive at the local and international level is the major problem they are facing. This open door day for suppliers will permit them acquire knowledge on how to upgrade their enterprises and measure up with the competitive global market.
Welcome back. I'm still accompanied by Clifford Ndecham. He is a managing director of Sky High University Center based in Douala, Cameroon. Now, Sky High University Center. Now, what's it all about?
Okay, thank you for that question. Sky High University Center we are looking at building a landmark study center in Cameroon. We have a lot of universities in Cameroon. We have both private and public university centers in Cameroon, but being that professional and that practical in its nature, wherein we bear in mind, first of all, what the market needs and what the society needs, as well as what the students' passion is all about, is what drove us to come about Sky High University Center. So we designed a center wherein we can be professionals. First of all, we are focusing on building entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs and intrapreneurs. That means we're building people who can be able, by the end of their studies, come up with business ideas, which we have a funding for that as well, for small startup projects that are given birth to while studying at Sky High University Center. That way we can be able to, empower more young Cameroonians. I'm saying young Cameroonians for now because our focus is Cameroon. The priority is to go the entire Africa, but our focus for now is Cameroon. We want to empower young Cameroonians. Then the second way is to build people who, when they go into companies, they can be really, really innovative. They can come up with ideas that can best grow the company and be better assets. Then we're trying to build young Cameroonians who can be able to compete anywhere in the world. That's why most of our courses are internationally certified.
Which means that you are a startup.
We are a startup.
And you want to empower other startups. How? Because as a startup, you need to settle down first.
Yeah.
At least you create an impact.
Yes.
And then you pull others to follow you.
Yes. Like I told you, this is a project we started in 2015. So we've done a lot of groundwork. We have the next 2 years because our first batch of startups that we will empower will be in 2 years' time. Because we expect the students to come in this year. Part of our course, part of our training, every student must undergo entrepreneurship training and ethical leadership, because we are trying to eliminate the corrupt system in Cameroon, and we're focusing on empowering our youth on entrepreneurship to be able. That way they'll be able to design their own business ideas, which will teach them on how to do that, will guide them. We have a whole incubator to nurse them, grow their businesses, and we've also allocated funds to fund major projects.
Where are the funds coming from?
Before starting, what we did was we had to go out to major companies and individuals within the country to partner with us and provide such funds. We have a lot of companies that have already partnered with us, and they're ready to, put aside part of their finances for corporate social responsibility to help the communities and the young people.
Now, what is the role of government? Have you asked for help from government, and what is government? Has government responded to your worries?
At the moment, we haven't contacted the government for anything, but we are confident because a school is a social entrepreneurship. It is something that the government really.
Now, as a startup, because government is encouraging startups.
Yes, we haven't approached the government on that agenda yet, but at the moment, just with them listening to what we were starting up and giving us the authorization, I think that's already a major step they took in supporting this initiative.
Now, you've been on for 2 years. Now, what are the difficulties? What are the major problems you're facing for 2 years?
We've not actually been on for 2 years.
Because you said you created in 2015.
We started the procedure for the university in 2015, but officially we are opening our doors this October.
This October.
Yes. Because a school requires a lot of logistics. You need to ensure that, we have a lot of engineering courses. You need the labs, you need all the technical, the expatriates, all of that to be in place. So for the past 2 years, we've been trying to make sure that we gather all of that, the finances. So I think the major challenge so far has been in getting the right experts to deliver the courses. Because Cameroon, in as much as we have experts in Cameroon, what we're looking for, people who can actually train students in a practical way, not just a theoretical way. I schooled in Cameroon. I went to the University of Buea. I even went to the University of Swa to do my master's there in law. So it's more of theoretical aspects. So we're looking at the practical nature of it. So we're looking at experts who can actually help us with delivering those type of courses. And we're looking at situation that people who are well traveled, who have studied abroad, who have a blend of not just abroad, but the Cameroon system as well, because we don't just want to eliminate what Cameroon is offering. Cameroon's education system is great, and sometimes it's even overdone. Like, let me put it that way. Sometimes we even have more than what is given out there. Back in England, I was a lecturer. I've been a lecturer for the past 3 years in England, so I know what it is to teach out there and what the students expect. You know, they really try to ensure that as a student, you get the specific things and you try to practicalize it. So that's what we've been looking for. We've been focusing on teachers, and most of our teachers are actually coming from abroad to deliver the courses here at the moment. We hope that in the near future, some of our graduates can even come back and continue with the work.
Now, you're focusing on petroleum engineering, petrochemical engineering, oil and gas management. Now, why this? Why do you prefer to focus on this? Is that you've realized that it's a virgin area?
Petroleum engineering, first of all, is I'll just talk on the School of Petroleum, because we have a series of schools. We have the School of Petroleum, we have the School of Business, we have the School of Insurance, we have the Sky High Aviation Academy, we have a host of other schools that are coming up. But petroleum engineering is a field that in Cameroon we really don't have a number of experts in the area. Most of the time, that's why you see a company coming into the country, they bring all their experts, they bring all their team from abroad to come and run our fields here. Meanwhile, we could actually build these experts here and they will successfully man all these operations. So oil and gas management, I did an MBA in oil and gas management. So while doing that, I discovered that there was a lot in it which we did not know, and it's a very, very simple course which if only we could have the opportunity in Cameroon, then there's no need to go to all the oil companies and see most of the senior ranking members, employees there coming from abroad.
Now, what are you targeting here?
Our target
youths who have just had your advanced level, or how are you doing this?
Yes, it's Sky High University Center. We target both those that just get their advanced level and their baccalaureate, as well as those that are already on the job. We discovered something. Let me go, for example, the School of Insurance in Cameroon. There is not any professional school that offers insurance training in English. We have the International Institute of Insurance in Yaoundé, but it focuses on French. So when we discovered that, but we know of a lot of English-speaking Cameroonians working in that sector or even dealing in that sector, it's a bit challenging. So they don't have the knowledge. Some of them have to do the just learning on the job. So we are targeting such people to provide them. That's why we had to partner with the West African Institute of Insurance based in Gambia, yes, to be able to deliver this course in Cameroon that will be able to meet the same standards as that provided by in Yaoundé by the CEMAC region.
Now, what does it take to be part of the center?
As a student?
As a student.
Okay, as a student, first of all, it depends.
Not on a student, go have people who are already working and they like the ones to have knowledge in other things or have...
Okay, to study in Sky High University Center, first of all, you must have your advanced level. We don't go below that. When you have your advanced level or your baccalaureate, the next thing we have to look at is your grades, especially for the engineering courses. There are some courses like the aviation. If you don't have, if you have less than 15 points in the sciences, we can't take you because we don't expect to train a pilot who is not good in physics, who is not good in mathematics. We have to consider all of that. So we study the FI, and there is also an entrance exam per department. So also sometimes there are certain departments like where you might already be on the job doing that job and you just want to professionalize. At that point in time, we will consider your minimum requirement, which is the advanced level and your current work experience to be able to.
Now, registration begins when?
Registration started already. With a lot of students have been coming in.
And when does it end? And when do we have classes?
Classes officially start on the 23rd of October, so registration runs up to probably that day, because we are trying to give people enough allowance to come in and register. You can register online on our website www.skyhighuniversity.com. There is an online application. We have a robust system. We have the online, a very flexible system wherein you can study during the day, you can study the evening classes, you can study online. It's your choice. You can do a mix of all. We are trying to make it in a way that even if you're working, you should not have challenges with studies. You shouldn't suspend your work because you have to study. Even if you can't commute to town, you can still sit in your bedroom, as long as we provide free laptops to all our students. Not because we want to give them laptops, because they need it to study. So
it's a necessity.
As long as you have your laptop and your internet connection, you can work, study from home. You don't need to come. So it is absolutely we make it in a way that it accommodates everyone.
Now, what's your last message to youth, especially?
Being a youth and being a Cameroonian, what I will advise every youth is, don't limit yourself. There are a lot of opportunities in Cameroon. Cameroon is like a green field, which you can easily...
The opportunities are more in which sectors?
Agriculture, that's the first one. And the startup capital in agriculture is very, very low. Yes, when compared to other
We talk about how much are we talking about?
With 50 to 100,000, you can successfully start. What happens is, we as Cameroonians, we believe more in family, and we always have farmlands, which sometimes you need just the seeds and probably your farm tools to start farming, and before you know it, they're going somewhere.
Mr. Ndecham, you are the manager of Sky High University Center based in Douala, Cameroon. We want to thank you for honoring our invitation.
Thank you so much, man.
And to you, I will say thank you for watching. To take another rendezvous same time next week. Goodbye.